Glaciers are about temperature. And so even in tropical regions, you go higher and higher, the temperatures go down to freezing and you get ice. But the tropical countries are extremely sensitive to small changes in temperature. And temperatures there stay pretty much stable year round, which also makes them more interesting to study because you can see the fluctuations very directly. And we've learned a huge amount about how climate works through the Peruvian glaciers. And it is absolutely conclusive that the loss of ice is directly related to temperature, and that the temperature increases are very dramatic, very recent in origin, that there have been cycles in history, of course, as all the climate deniers will say, yes, temperature historically moves through cycles, but the sharpness and suddenness of the increase in the Andes in the tropical areas is not only very dramatic in itself, but very instructive as to why ice around the world in all areas is disappearing so fast. The Peruvian government is just beginning to figure out what a problem it has on its hands. It is a developing country, even though it's a relatively more prosperous one. They just created a Ministry of the Environment 2 years ago. Their meteorological service, which is the basic thing a country needs to figure out its weather and its climate, is skeletal, needs a lot of money, doesn't cover the whole country. They don't really know how their river basins work. They're figuring it out from scratch. All along the Peruvian coast are the ruins of societies that disappeared because they couldn't balance their demands with their resources. The Nazca, the Moche, the Chavin, there are many of them. And you drive along the Peruvian coast and you see a lot of ruins. And those are ruins that are those of civilizations that either suffered catastrophic droughts, or paradoxically, because of this thing called El Nino, which is an ocean current variation that can create tremendous floods, you also see societies that succumb to floods, or who simply tore down all their trees. What a story like this shows above all is that the imbalance between what we demand, what we consume, and the resources available to us is rapidly slipping out of kilter. The challenge in doing stories like this is that it's very easy to look at melting glaciers or disappearing forests or whatever it may be and get apocalyptic. Nothing in the world shuts people off quicker than being told stories that are apocalyptic. The lessons of these stories has to be, how can we do things differently? Because we can. Balancing resource demands and consumption with the available resources we have is going to be the key to the future.